Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's class. Hi, Gail. Nice to have you here. Come on in, everyone. Recognize some of your names. We're also live streaming today, this morning, which is exciting. I was a little bit nervous about the whole live stream thing in the beginning, but I'm getting used to it now. Hi, Carolyn. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Excellent. It's great to see your faces. If you want to put your camera on, even just for a couple minutes, would be just amazing. Hi, Phyllis.
Hi, good morning. Oh, good afternoon.
Well, for me, it's morning. It's 9:30 a.m. where I am. I'm in Pacific time. I'm in up here in Canada. And hi, Melissa. Good to see you. Janice is here. Janice, I know Janice is in the evening. Am I correct? About 8. Oh, you're still on mute.
5:30 p.m.
Okay, it's early. Okay, earlier than what I was thinking. Well, you know what? It's funny because we just talked to my brother-in-law who lives in London. It's his birthday today, and he said they just ordered takeout for the first time in, I don't know, many months. And so I figured it was around dinner time. That's about right. Welcome, Georgianne. Nice to see everybody. We have the lovely Melissa in from our support area, here to help us. So if anybody is having any issues with their Zoom, any kind of technical things, this is the time to ask in this first few minutes while she's here.
It's Melissa's fault.
And so if you're having troubles, like even maybe changing your name on your square, like say you want to update that, or your sound isn't great, or any kind of little things. Let's face it, computers can have a few little glitches. So please reach out to Melissa. She's there in chat, so you can chat with her there. You get your chat, you take your cursor, you go down to the bottom of your middle of the screen, and it says chat, and you just click that box. All right. So welcome. I'm so happy to see everybody, and happy Easter for anybody who follows the Easter. It's we had a day off yesterday, Friday, which was nice. My husband was off work, so we were able to I don't know, just do different things. We went for a big walk in the middle of the day. That was nice.
So your weather's okay then?
It's not bad. It was colder than I was thinking because the sun was out and we were near the water, and I thought, ooh, I could have used my little mittens or something, but because the wind coming off the ocean was a little bit cool, but we still did our 45-minute walk, which was really nice. So welcome everybody. I will see, let's see. We may or may not get a few more people in here, but let's get ourselves started because I want to give you lots of time to participate and do some brainstorming, because we're going to do that towards the end. So grab your water, your coffee, get yourself comfortable. Try and get a pen and have a pad of paper, or a piece of paper ready, because we're going to do a little bit of brainstorming. And as I go through, you may want to take a couple notes, and but we definitely will have some time at the end to work on our own morning routines. That'll be fun. All right, I will start the recording. There we go. And I'm going to share my screen. All right, so today is about creating morning routines for a better day. So just to make sure we're all in the right spot, there's a lot of classes now. We have quite a few classes going on. Maybe not as many on a Saturday, but I feel like we've got quite a few classes on the schedule. So just to make sure you're in the right spot. And for those of you who have not met me, my name is Ravina. I'm one of the guides here at Get Set Up. We are a training organization at Get Set Up, and so we're educators. And the best part about this is that we love to learn from you, all of you learners that come to classes. So don't be shy to unmute yourself and add a little comment or ask a question, because that's what we love. I've learned so much from you. I'll give you examples. In my healing class, I talk about some recipes, and a few learners, said, when I make my applesauce, I add this, and I've sort of tweaked some of the recipes. But I've learned that from all of you. So that's what this is all about, to learn from each other. If you can, put your camera on, even just for a few minutes, just to kind of say hi to the other people here, so that they can put a face to your name. And if you're shy, that's okay. But as you get used to coming onto Zoom, you will realize that, like, nobody cares. Nobody's looking to see, oh, their room is messy, or, their lighting's not great. It's mostly the people it's enjoyable to see that we're live, because this is what we have right now. We can't necessarily get together in person, but look at us, we're all around the world. So I am actually in Canada. So if you think of Seattle, if you're from the United States, and you just go 2 hours north, you hit Canada. And that's exactly where I'm at, on that very western side of Canada. I've been involved with health and wellness for forever and ever and ever, and I love personal growth. So this class is a little different than what I normally teach if you've taken any of my classes, but I think personal growth goes with wellness and health. And this is what's really helped me to have better self-discipline in my life with my health and wellness goals. So that's what this is kind of about. So I really think that they overlap, and having a morning routine is something that really, really helped me over these last couple of years, especially, now get this, especially when I retired, because we kind of are forced into a schedule when we work. Now, maybe you don't work Monday to Friday, or you didn't work Monday to Friday. Maybe you worked shift work and it was all over the board, but you still had some kind of a schedule. Okay, so that's just a little bit about me. So we are recording. As I said, I've hit the record button. If you would like a copy of this recording, you are able to ask for that. The email is up on the screen. And, in case you missed something, or you want to listen to it again. And today, we do often do this now. We're starting to live stream our sessions. And that's just so that for those people last minute, maybe they didn't get to register for the class, but they can come in, take a peek. They can't communicate with us, and we don't really know who they are, but they are able to be in here. So welcome to all of you that are live streaming, and please try to register for my class in a future time. And lastly, really quick, we do not get paid or kickbacks or anything for any services or goods that I might talk about today. Let's get started. So we're going to learn what is a morning routine and why do I need one. We're going to learn the 4 components that every morning routine, it doesn't necessarily should have, but it's nice to have all 4 components in your morning routine. And we're going to look at some pro tips when creating our morning routine. And I've got some really fun slides to talk about what other people do. You kind of wonder what some of these sort of successful people in the world, they might be movie stars, they might be motivational speakers. What do they do in the morning? I want to know. Okay, so can anybody just don't be shy, but just unmute yourself. You don't have to show yourself if you don't want to, but can anybody describe what a morning routine is? What it actually is? Anybody? I won't pick on anybody. I know it's pretty early in the morning, definitely for me. So
I was going to say taking a walk, a long walk in the morning before the start of day.
Yeah, absolutely. Just bear with me. I just have to do one thing here while I just take you off of my. Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one, because that and you'll find out as part of my routine, I actually do something like that as part of my morning routine. So that's definitely is something that could be part of somebody's morning routine.
Cup of coffee.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. One of my favorite mentors, that is his go-to. First thing in the morning, when he gets up, he goes and makes himself his delicious cup of coffee.
That's usually
And then
now.
what's that? Oh, and then he gets himself going with the rest of his day. So yeah, so I mean, basically, how do you describe a morning routine? It's sort of a routine. Well, we'll find out, but basically it's something you kind of do most days. Like most days, you do this. It's a routine, that something special that you do. Okay, so we're talking really about why creating a morning routine can really help make your day special and give you like that lovely boost in your day. So here's the definition of the morning routine. So they talk about the morning is an important part of the day, which I think a lot of us could agree with. A healthy and productive morning will set the tone for a productive day overall. So, make sure you take your morning routine seriously. For some of us, and a lot of us, we're older adults, maybe we're retired, maybe we're only working part-time, and we think, what do I need a routine for? I've had a routine my whole entire life. I had to get up at 5:45 every morning for the last 40 years. I don't need a routine. So if you swing the pendulum all the way to the other side, you were so structured, now you've moved it over to the other side, you might find that you're kind of losing your day, or you're bored, or you just don't feel like you're doing what's meaningful for you. And that's what we're going to get into. A morning routine, like my morning routine, is going to look very, very, very different than, say, Gail's morning routine. Or maybe we have some similarities, but this is the key to it. And I want you to think about things. I'll just say it in 2 words: core values. Think right now with your piece of paper and just start to think about, what are your core values? Because that's what will make an amazing morning routine for you. Maybe not even your partner or your spouse, whoever you're living with, if you live with anybody. You might have some things that kind of come together, like my husband and I, we walk in the morning together, but then our morning routine is very different. So we'll get to that. So often, like when we start looking at, especially when we're maybe in our 30s and 40s, we start thinking, okay, I want to be successful. I want to have a great career. What do the successful people do? And not often sparks people to kind of, read biographies and find out, okay, how did that person, become so successful? So we often do look, who do we look at? We look at those successful entrepreneurs. We look at CEOs. We look at artists. We look at, the motivational people that give us that, and to get our inspiration and our advice. So we're going to just go through a few, and we'll just sort of see what are a few things that people do. So Benjamin Franklin, he was known to get up at 5 a.m. and ask himself, what good shall I do this day? Isn't that kind of fun? Like every morning this is in his biography. That's what he did. Every morning he got up, and that's what he said. That set the tone for him. And that was the beginning of his morning routine at 5 a.m. All right, so let's look at a couple others. So has anybody heard of Tim Ferriss? He's an author. He's a motivational guy. He's kind of the biohack guy. He did all these experiments on his body to find out how to lose fat and how to gain muscle. And he has that book called The 4-Hour Workweek, if anybody's heard of that. He's one of those guys, like if you go to the, sort of self-help, personal growth, you'll see Tim Ferriss's books. He starts with a strong cup of tea. He does his meditation and he journals, he writes, and he calls it like brain drain, like he just journals just for the sake of journaling, just to get out whatever worries are in his head. And his motto is, win the morning, win the day. I like that motto. Win the morning, win the day. Now, I'm also speaking to any of you here today that are not morning people. And let's face it, some of us are not morning people. My husband is more of a morning guy. He gets up at 5:30 every work day. Even if we didn't get to bed at the usual 10 o'clock time, he still gets up at 5:30. And I just don't have to get up that early, and I'm not that early bird person. So I don't get up then. I get up around 6:15, but 5:30 just seems way too early for me. So let's move on to somebody else. Let's see who else we have. Okay, so Darren Hardy, he's the motivational speaker I was talking about that makes his cup of coffee in the morning. This is a very interesting hack that he does for his morning routine. He actually leaves his phone on airplane mode from the night before and keeps it on airplane mode when he first gets up, instead of, getting the monkey brain going by, checking Facebook and doing all this stuff on his phone. He leaves it in airplane mode. Now, honestly, let's be clear here. If you've got a security or a safety issue, or somebody might be trying to get a hold of you, I have an 87-year-old father, so I do not put my phone on airplane mode. However, because my husband is home with us, I can leave it on airplane mode when I'm doing my morning productive time, and somebody can get a hold of us if, say, there was an issue with my dad. So, keep that in mind. Like if you've got grandkids or you've got family that would freak out if your phone was on airplane mode, consider that. But that's what he does. He leaves it on airplane mode, and that's the easiest way to put your cell phone so it doesn't disturb you. You know how sometimes you sit there and you play with the volume and you say, oh, don't have this ping, don't have that. You don't have to do all that. Keep your phone how you like it. Just stick it on airplane mode and everything kind of just is quiet. You're in the movie theater, which hopefully one day we get to be back at a movie theater. All right, let's look at this one. So does everybody know who Jennifer Aniston is? I'm pretty sure everybody does. She was the one that was on Friends. She's an actress. Look at what she does. She is a believer of the early morning thing. So even when she is working, so when she's working on, a sitcom or whatever movie or whatever she's doing, she still gets up every morning, and her routine is to get a nice, she washes her face. That's her big thing. She washes her face, and then she drinks hot water with lemon. And she does a little meditation for 20 minutes, no matter what. So if she's got to be on set at 6 a.m. or even earlier, she'll get up at 4:30. I read more about it. I didn't put it on the slide, but she'll get up at 4:30 just to get in her 20-minute, or, it probably takes her 30 minutes to do her little regime before she gives herself to anybody else. So she just does this, and that allows her to feel like she did something for herself before she has to go and do something for somebody else. That's kind of nice. I like that. And I often do I don't put the lemon wedges in my water. If anybody, well, I can just tell you, I put essential oil, which is lemon, 2 drops into my warm water. Why? Because the citric can be not great for your teeth enamel if you do a lot of that. Keep that in mind. So I have a friend who has essential oils, or works for a company, and I just get essential lemon drops, and I put that, and that is just as good because you're getting the essential oils of the lemon. So I kind of do a little bit of what she does. So another one, Richard, this is to kind of get your brain going and thinking. And what are we finding out here? Everybody does something different. It's not like everybody does exactly the same thing. Richard Branson, no matter what he has to do in his day, and can be a busy guy, he gets up around 5. He does his workout right away because he likes to work out. He eats a good breakfast, and he spends time with his family every day. That's what his morning routine involves. That's not him in the picture, but that's just to kind of give you the idea of, what he does and what's important to him. Working out first thing in the morning is so important to him, so he does that.
I don't see your screen. Are you sharing it?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Thank you for reminding me there.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Let me just go back. I apologize for that. I had to take my screen off for 1 second for our co-host. Okay, so yeah, I'll just step back. I apologize for that. Okay, so Darren Hardy, he does the airplane mode on his phone, and that's because he likes to do productive work.
The joys
and
of travel
he drinks his
are
coffee.
wherever your journey
He doesn't
takes
work out.
you.
He hates working out in the
Peaceful
morning. I'll tell you
parks,
more about him later, but he doesn't like to work out in
great
the morning.
cities,
And then Jennifer
across the
Aniston
sea,
does the warm water with lemon.
or just
And I was
across
just
town.
mentioning about, I
Even
put
when we
essential
can't
lemon
travel
drops in
physically,
my warm
we
water
can
instead of
venture
the
out
actual
in spirit.
acidic, like the lemon, because
Travel
it can
is a
affect,
mindset.
if you're drinking a lot of acidic stuff like that, can affect your
Travelers
enamel
follow
on your
their
teeth.
dreams.
And if you're doing it every day, it's a
Generally
routine,
take
right?
me to
And then
Europe.
Richard Branson, makes sure that he spends time with his family every day. So we all know Kate Hudson. We're familiar with Kate Hudson. She's an actress as well. This is a funny, well, I found this kind of like, oh gosh, I don't know if I could do this every day. But she actually wakes up and she learned this from her makeup artist. She gets a bowl of ice water and she dunks her face in it. And it just like, wow. It's like, I guess like people that have a cold shower, similar. And she just adopted this and loves doing it and feels like her skin feels good. It just refreshes her. It just wakes her up doing this. Not my style. Couldn't do that. And just
Hey, well,
sorry, go ahead.
I wonder if you could drink it. After you splash your face with it, you drink it.
Well, you know what? Jeremy, that's a great, I don't know if I'd want to drink that water, but definitely drinking water is a really amazing thing to have in your morning routine. But we're going to get in. Yeah, we're going to get into like brainstorming of all that.
Okay.
Yeah, so Oprah, she does not miss her meditation, no matter what she's doing, no matter what her schedule is, no matter if she's with her best friend Gail and they're, hiking in the woods or whatever. She makes sure she does her 20 minutes of meditation every single day. So I love that. I'm sort of an Oprah Winfrey fan. I used to watch her a lot. And then I think this is the last one. So in a speech to a graduating class at Stanford, Steve Jobs, he said that every morning he would look into the mirror and ask himself this very same question. Kind of like Benjamin Franklin had his question. He would say, and this is really key. I love this because we never know when our life is, when we're done, right? We don't know. We can't predict that. We can maybe guess how long of our lifespan we have. But he would look in the mirror and say, if today was the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm doing today? That just sort of set the tone for him where he could just, am I doing something that's meaningful to me? Again, we're getting back to those core values, which I mentioned. All right. So the one thing that all of these successful in their own right people have and do is that they are committed to a morning routine. And that commitment helps them to have that consistency. Now, I mentioned Darren Hardy. If you're not familiar with him, he's an author, he's a motivational speaker. He wrote the book called, let me just think about it for a second, The Compound Effect. If you haven't read that book, it's called The Compound Effect. It's been out for quite some time. And it talks about routine, having those little habits, little tiny things that you think don't make a difference. Like maybe you take the stairs every time you go to visit your, I don't know, or when you leave your apartment, you take the stairs. That little increment thing over time will add up to some beautiful success. So even though it doesn't feel like it's anything, it's not making me any healthier if I do that. It's not making me any healthier parking at the end of the parking lot when I grocery shop once a week. But over time, these little things add up. All right, so let's specifically look at what a routine is. Now, the definition really is a routine is a sequence of actions that you do repeatedly. And the neat thing about it, with that repetition, that routine becomes a habit. There are many, many books out there now on habits. There's like a book called Tiny Habits. There's a few other books. There's quite a few if you just look in the personal development section. Habits are a powerful tool for productivity because they just really allow you to do various activities without even really realizing or having that conscious effort. So your brain doesn't have to like stop and think about it. For example, say you have to back up your car out of your driveway every morning when you were going to work, or every time you go out to pick up the kids, or whatever it is you do, whatever this little routine is, your brain and your body gets so into the muscle memory of what it's doing because it's now a habit. You know to look in the left-hand rear view mirror, then look at this rear view mirror, and you know how to maneuver your car back out of your driveway. That is an example of something that's become a habit. Can anybody think of a habit that they have that just kind of comes natural and they don't have to think about it anymore? Does anybody have an example of something?
Brushing your teeth is a very basic.
Yes, that's a great one, Sabia. Yeah, like you might not even think about it. Like you get up, one of my habits is, well, I get up, I go to the bathroom right away, but I always have my water ready the night before. And as soon as I get up, I take a few sips of water. It's just a habit. What's other little habits? Does anybody else have little habits that they've done maybe during the day? It doesn't even have to be in the morning.
You're taking the dog out every morning.
Carolyn, thank you. Yes. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, I'm sure your little dog or big dog doesn't let you forget, but it is a habit. Like as soon as you get up, maybe the dog's like licking your face, or, it's doing its little bark, or is like ready at the door like this, like ready to go out, like whatever it is a habit. You get into this sort of habit. It's nice when you have pets, because pets kind of keep you sort of on track a little bit. But here's the thing about habits. If you've got an old habit, like a habit that you don't love, and I had a habit of, for example, eating every time we went to the movie theater. It just went hand in hand. If I'm going to sit in the dark in the movie theater, I'm going to either have popcorn in my hand or something. And it usually wasn't really, I wasn't eating carrot sticks. So that became a habit. Oh, not a good habit. And especially because we were movie lovers and we used to go to the movies once a week. Having a treat once a week, like, a big bag of salty, buttery popcorn, or fake, the fake stuff on it, or having the chocolate bar, eating chocolate or whatever, every time I'm in the movie theater, it became a habit. My body was craving it and ready for it. Every time this big screen came on, I was going to start crunching and eating something. So here's the thing about habits. If you have a habit you want to change or eliminate, the best way to do it and the most successful is to replace it with a new habit, a better habit. So that's what I did. I mentioned carrot sticks. I used to take, carrot sticks, celery, anything crunchy, because I always loved the crunch of chips, to the movie theater before they temporarily have closed, of course, to replace the bad habit, because I still had a habit of doing something in the movie, So that's a little bit about habits. And there's tons and tons of books out there and amazing podcasts that talk about habits that like, I think, there's that Tiny Habits one, and somebody in my other class, his name's James Clear. He's written a book, and that one is very good because there's a lot of application in his book. All right. So how is everybody doing? Is everybody sticking with me, understanding everything so far? We're all feeling good?
Yes.
Okay, good. I got my screen showing now, which is awesome. All right, so 4 components. We're going to look at 4 components of a morning routine. The first one is a physical component. So what does that mean? Okay, example, drinking water. Somebody, or I think I mentioned it, and maybe others, Jeremy, I think you pronounce your name Jeremy. He talked about drinking water. What's other physical things we could do in the morning? Darren Hardy does. He makes his coffee right away. I had a learner in here that said she makes her delicious coffee every morning. So that was part of her routine. 5 to 7 minutes of stretching. I had a learner in the class that said she would do her stretching in bed. Like she would wake up and she would do her, her stretches and her movement with her feet and everything in bed before she even got out of bed. Doing a walk in the morning, that would be considered something physical. So these are just examples of physical things you could do in your morning. All right, what's the next component? Emotional. Now, sometimes I get this confused. So how you remember it's emotional is because it's all about feelings. So what evokes feelings in you? So it might be listening to that favorite podcast. It might be listening to your custom playlist. It might be reading your favorite scripture. Anything that evokes emotion in you. It might be reading your, cards that you got from your children for your birthday, whatever it is part of your routine that you like to do, that you want to kind of add something emotional in it if you can. Now, this lady in the picture here, she's listening to her favorite music. So that's sort of giving her just that nice feeling of a good feeling in the morning. All right. The next one is the mental component. Now, this is where I kind of got it confused when I was first studying this with the emotional one. So this is about your mind and your thoughts, not feelings. So feelings, and now we're talking about thoughts. So what could evoke thoughts for you? It might be reading 30 minutes in the morning. That's something I like to do in part of my morning routine. And I read fiction sometimes because I'm so into this personal development, all this, always learning. Just reading fiction is just a way to open up your mind. Even though it's fiction, you can learn a lot, right? So also journaling for 10 minutes, say in the morning. You're using your mind, you've got thoughts and you're putting thoughts down. So that is the third component, the mental component. You can see how it kind of seems similar to the emotional one, but when you break it down this way, thoughts, versus feelings, it sort of makes sense. Okay, and then the last one is the spiritual component. Again, this is just a suggestion that you try to incorporate all four into your morning, but if it's not something you think that you need, it's not part of your core values, then don't include it. So what do we think of for spiritual? It might be prayer. It might be meditation, because you're when you meditate, you're trying to connect with your higher being, with spiritually. It might be writing in your gratitude journal. And that's sort of more of a spiritual thing versus just brain drain in your regular journal, or, just writing stuff. So those are the four components. Has everybody written down what they want to write down so far? Yeah, okay. So this is also important too, keeping in mind when you're building your own morning routine, it does take time and it does take practice, okay? So don't feel like after today, you're going to put together this amazing morning routine and everything's going to go smooth the next day, okay? It does take some time. And what I would suggest is that if you already kind of have a morning routine, but not really, and you're going to create one, start by just adding one thing at a time. Don't just like throw it all together. It's like, now I got my 2-hour morning routine. This is all the things I'm going to do. And oh, I failed. I didn't get to the book I was going to read. Don't do that to yourself. The morning routine, think of it as just a wonderful way of taking care of yourself. So if you are retired and you're thinking, I don't want to schedule like work. No, think of the morning routine as something for yourself, something good for you, to take care of you before you get on the phone and start helping other people. Or what else? Sometimes our day goes by and did we get time to do our scripture? Did we get time to have our prayer? Did we have time to wash our face? Even though you might be retired, the day gets busy, doesn't it? And you sometimes are doing for others. So think of it that way. Morning routine is a way to take care of yourself. And if you do that first thing in the morning, it sets the tone for the rest of the day, just like we talked about. All right, let's keep going. So I'm going to talk just now, before we spend some time doing our own morning routine and brainstorming, we're going to talk about some pro tips. So these are some pro tips from people who have done morning routines and changed morning routines. One of the exciting things to do, and I will say I do this for the most part, but always plan your morning the night before. Okay, so maybe none of us are rushing out the door at 7 a.m. to go to work, a full-time job possibly, but lay out your clothes for the next day. Lay out your workout clothes maybe for the next day, and your running shoes are ready to go at the door. If you do work and you're working part-time or working full-time, get it organized. Have your lunch made in the fridge. Don't be running around scrambling for something for your lunch the next day. Get it ready the day before. set out your vitamins. Does anybody do that? Does anybody get their vitamins set out for the next morning? Yeah, I do. Well, yeah, that's good, Sherry. I have mine. Mine comes in like a little strip. These are all my vitamins, and so I have this on my desk. So after class, once I've had something to eat, I've just been drinking water so far, I will have my vitamins. Putting your water ready, you can do that. You can just put a little, I put it in mason jars, so I just cover it with a cap so it can stay fresh. Even getting your water bottle ready for the next day or for when you're running out the door to go for your walk or for your workout. This person in this picture, it looks like they've got their lunches. Sometimes people make up their lunches a couple days in advance. They have their hard-boiled eggs for that time when you have hunger and you need a snack instead of going for something not so good. They might go for their hard-boiled egg if you eat eggs. This is another thing. Now, you may disagree with this if you are retired, but setting your wake-up time is a nice way to give your body some consistency. So I'll admit, we do get up earlier Monday to Friday in my household because my husband is still working versus Saturday and Sunday. And yesterday was a holiday, so we in fact did sleep in. Like it's 9:30 that I'm teaching this class. So today's, is the weekend for us, but we really kind of wake up anyways. You'll be surprised that if you set your alarm for say 7 o'clock, that you're just going to wake up just before the alarm goes off and turn it off anyways. It's interesting how our body, you tell your body, you give your body the permission to, or you tell your body that you are going to get up at 7 in the morning, and your body clock, isn't it kind of amazing how you sometimes can just wake up before the alarm goes off? That's the reason, because you've given that intention already the night before. You're setting the alarm, you're telling your body, I need to get up at 6 o'clock because I've got something going on, and your body kind of can figure that out. It's very intuitive that way. Does anybody set an alarm right now? Does anybody do that? Yeah, Phyllis, you do it? Yeah, Sabia? Yeah, I mean, I know my mother-in-law, she's just like, I'm not setting an alarm. I'm retired, I'm not setting an alarm. But she was a teacher and a vice principal. So she was like, everything was so rigid her whole entire life. And she taught music lessons. So everything was like timed. And so she's just like, I am not setting an alarm. But I bet you she gets up around the same time every day anyway. All right, what's another pro tip? Good quality sleep. Wow. Lots and lots of people, successful ones out there that study this sort of stuff. They get a good night quality sleep by turning off their devices. And I'm giving some leeway here. I said at least 45 minutes. Some people do 2 hours. I think an hour is almost like, I wasn't being very realistic when I was saying an hour, but if around 8-ish, well, for me, actually, we go to bed around 10. So we were kind of thinking about it by 8 and it wasn't happening. Like I was still maybe doing something on my phone or I'm checking a recipe online. So we changed it in my household to like 45 minutes. So when the 9 o'clock hour happens, we should be winding down all our tech stuff, get it, finished and out of the way. And then we could relax and be able to just wind down. And is that the term a lot of us use? Wind down before we go to bed, because a good quality sleep is important for your next day. Absolutely important. All right, a couple more pro tips here. As soon as you get up, hey, there it came up again. Make your bed. That's key. And drink a glass of water, or at least have a few sips of water. I don't care whether it's cold water, warm water, hot water, whatever water, just get that fluid in. Why do I say that? Does anybody know why we want to drink water first thing in the morning? Any ideas?
Yeah, the only thing I could think of to like refresh your mind, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Sherry. I mean, you're kind of right on track there. Think about what your body's been doing while you're sleeping. What do you think your body's doing when it's sleeping? It finally gets a bit of a breather, right? A bit of a break. Maybe your pancreas gets a break from shooting out insulin for all the little snacks you're eating all day. Like at nighttime, if you study it and Google it, you can look up your biorhythms, like your body. Naturally around 1 a.m. is when your liver is what has to get all the toxins out of your body, right? It all has processed through your liver. So if you've got like a fatty liver, or you've got a liver that's really under strain, you have a lot of toxins going into your body through your food, your environment, whatever's going on. So your liver does its dump at night, is clean, it cleans at night. So between 1 and 3 in the morning, your liver is doing its cleaning. So it's using up some water from your cells and trying to do its thing to clean. Your brain, when you get into deep sleep, so that's why sleep is so important. If you've taken my optimal brain course, you'll know that at nighttime, only when you get into deep sleep, your brain does its little flush. And what does it do? It flushes using the water in our bodies to get rid of those little particles of protein that can get stuck in the neurons. And if those little proteins called amyloid betas get stuck up there in the brain, they become plaque. And you know what could lead to that? You get plaque in your brain, it damages the neurons, and you may end up with dementia. So it's very, very important, because your body organs at different times are doing their flush. In the morning, you might be a little bit dehydrated. It's a great way to continue to finish that flush by having a lovely glass of water. Sip it if you don't want to drink it too fast, so that you can eliminate what you need to eliminate, all those toxins and all that beautiful work that your organs have been doing at nighttime. They want to flush it out. That's why it's really important to do the water in the morning. Now, I'll admit, like when I started doing my 35-minute walk in the morning, I was always worried, because I'm somebody who has to use the toilet in the morning. I got to pee, I don't know, at least 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times in the morning. So I was scared to drink any water before I went out for my walk, because I didn't want to be out walking and then have to go use the bathroom. So I kind of got out of doing it, and that was not a good thing. So now I at least have, a couple, this is my second jar. Here's the 16 ounces. So I would have at least a few sips just to get my system kind of going, make sure I use the toilet before I go out for my walk. I think as women, we tend to, like, my husband's like a camel. I don't know. I don't know. He goes to the toilet, but he just doesn't, he's just different. I think women, maybe our hormones or something, but morning time is the worst for me. In the morning, I have to go so many times, and then I'm better in the afternoon. But I think that's because of all the detoxing at nighttime. All right, so we've got lots of time, which I'm really excited about. So get your pens and paper out. And I want you to consider, just roughly kind of brainstorm. It doesn't have to be in order. And keep in mind, I didn't mention this, somebody's morning routine could be 30 minutes only, because that's all they have. They do 10 minutes of meditation, they drink their water, they do a few stretches, and they got to get going. But other people's morning routine could be 2 hours or even 3 hours. My morning routine starts at 6:15 when I get up out of bed. And because of all the things that I do and the way my schedule is, I have flexibility. I think my morning routine might be to like 2.5 hours, something like that. But keep in mind, these are my core values. These are the things, think about this. Add to your morning routine something that will put a smile on your face. There's a good way of thinking about it. So the physical, does anybody need me to look back on the slide? It's physical ideas, emotional ideas, mental ideas, and spiritual ideas.
What-
Okay, so let's,
Physical? What was it?
okay, so let's just go back and we're gonna just spend a good 5-10 minutes or doing that. So let's just look again. You want to write some of these down. So the physical is anything physical that you would do, like making your coffee, going for a walk, drinking your water, stretching, any form of exercise would be physical, like physically using your body physically. So whether it's to, like, you might prep your breakfast, that might be part of it. It might be eating your breakfast. That would be a physical thing as well, eating breakfast, which is not on here as an example. That's the physical stuff. Okay. The
What
emotional,
about
again,
making your bed? Is it making your bed count?
yeah,
I'm
making
sorry,
your
is
bed.
making your
Yeah.
bed count? Okay.
Yes, making your bed. And I didn't mention this, but I'll just say this really quick, Phyllis. I'm glad that that's part of your morning routine. there is research out there. Researchers have researched that the people that actually get up out of their bed and, you know, maybe not that second, but make their bed pretty much upon rising are more productive and have a more productive day than people that just leave their bed in disarray. There's actual research, scientific research that has resulted in giving that you are more productive. So keep that in mind about the bed making. My mom, I grew up in a household, like as kids, we were not allowed to leave our room until we made our bed. So I guess it's a habit for me now. It wasn't for my husband. So we had a little bit of a thing when we first got married. All right. The emotional ones is things that evoke feelings in you. So it could be different for everybody. It could be, I don't know, talking with your husband and talking about, you know, how grateful you are that they're in your life. Like anything that will evoke feelings. So listening to music, reading your scripture, if it's not, you know, that might be in spiritual, but anything that can evoke emotions for you. It might be just, you know, staring outside at your beautiful surroundings near your home, looking at your flowers on your balcony. That might evoke some emotions for you. Sitting in silence with your flowers. Okay, and then the mental stuff is like getting your mind going and thinking thoughts, the thoughts that are coming in. So it could be specifically journaling. It might be reading a book and it gives you some ideas that you can reflect on. So anything that you might reflect on and think about would be that. And then the spiritual for those that are that feel connected spiritually could be prayer. It could be reading scripture. It could be listening to a spiritual podcast. It could be writing in your gratitude journal. All right, so I'm going to be quiet just for a couple minutes and let's try and do something. And remember, in line with your core values. And be as specific as you can.
So you want us to write what we'd like to do or what we're doing?
You know, both. Like what you're doing right now might be a nice little outline for you. And then maybe there's things you'd like to tweak with it. Because some people don't have morning routines. I mean, they might have some type of a routine, but nothing that they do every day. So yeah, Phyllis, maybe write down what you're doing right now and maybe things you might like to add to it now that you've learned a few things about the components.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna just, let's just come back and I'll stop sharing the screen for a second. I want to have enough time because when this is the second time doing this class, and I had a lot of people that wanted to share a couple, points on their morning routine. So I've used the terms thinking about your core values. Don't think it has to be like somebody else just because you read it in a book that, Oprah does this, this, and this, and this, so I got to do it to be successful. Don't think it has to be exactly in line with your partner or whoever lives in your household with you. Sometimes it's nice to do a few things together, but remember, the morning routine is for you. And also the main thing I really want to get across is just because you're retired or just working part-time versus your busy previous work life, a routine, and then you might think, why do I need to be productive? Well, as humans, we feel fulfillment in our life when we are following our purpose, when we're following our passions, when we're doing good things for ourselves. So a morning routine is taking care of yourself. And that's the key here. You're taking care of yourself when you set aside, even if it's 10 minutes for doing something just for you. And I'll give you a quick example. My mom did that when we were young. We knew if my mom was, after she was up and if her bed was made, we would come and peek into her room. She'd have the door closed but not shut. We would peek in as kids and we'd see the bed was made, and we knew my mom was sitting in her chair doing her prayer, her meditation. She read scripture in the morning, and even my father knew, do not go and disturb mom. Doesn't matter if you can't find something in the kitchen, because she's doing her. That's all my poor mom ever had, was like 10 minutes to herself, was every morning. That was it. I mean, and then there was us 3 kids, and it was crazy in our household sometimes. So this is for you. That's why you're doing this morning routine. This is to show love to yourself, being kind to yourself, because we know when the day takes over and we're busy, did we take that time to read that book that we were so excited we bought at the bookstore to get started? Right? How many books do we have sitting on our shelves that we were excited to buy, and we got them at home and we sat and read? I mean, we're retired now. Why are we not reading our books? We got these amazing, beautiful things on the bookshelf. Okay, who would like to just this isn't to, don't get nervous. It's just maybe mention a couple things that you've added into your. Phyllis, did you want to speak?
I just have a question, because you know what they say about the road to good intent with good intentions. I set my alarm at 8 o'clock and I don't get out of bed till 10.
Okay.
I turn the TV. I mean, so I guess my question is, any ideas how we break a bad habit?
Well,
I'm so lazy to get out because I just lay there and watch TV, and if I don't like the news, I'll just watch something I recorded.
Don't care about.
Before.
Okay. So I get what you're saying. So I'll just say this really quick. Like I mentioned, the only way to break a bad habit is to replace it with a better habit, a good habit. Right. So my suggestion here, so I have 2 things. I mean, with the nursing background and nutrition background that I have, if you're setting your alarm with the intent to get up at 8 o'clock and you are just not getting up, you got to look at the night before. Are you going to bed late? Is the time creeping up instead of that intention of going to bed at 10, you are going to bed at 1 in the morning or 12 at night? Because think about, your body is telling you what it needs for sleep. I would way rather you set the alarm for 10 and get those extra couple hours or even an hour of proper sleep than watching something crappy on TV that you don't really care about. So number 1, look at what's happening the night before that you can get up at 8. Because typically as humans, we require about 7 hours of sleep, and in the winter, sometimes it's more. Right now, when you are sleep deprived, you can almost sleep for like 10 hours and actually, stay asleep. So that's what I would look at, Phyllis.
Yeah,
I
wanted to mention.
Okay, sorry, Sherry. Just let.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Phyllis, what else?
I'm sure I do. I stay up sometimes till 2 o'clock in the morning watching TV.
Yeah, there you go. So that's the reason. So you always look at the night before and think, okay, what's going on? Or did you eat really late at night and now you're awake? Or are you waking up at 3 in the morning and awake for a couple hours, and then when 8 o'clock comes along? No, the only way to do is to slowly, gradually reduce that. So if you're staying up till 2 in the morning, set your alarm for 9:30.
Good
And
advice.
then
I'm gonna-
and then slowly start
you.
shifting. You slowly can shift.
Thank
Now,
you.
do you have anything else you want to add to like your morning routine? Like tell us a few things in your morning routine?
Me?
Yeah, Phyllis.
Usually a phone call. Oh, yeah, I go and just sit and watch all the ads on my emails. I waste time, which is fine
Okay.
because I think a lot of us are in that position where we can waste time.
Yeah, yeah.
But-
But would it feel nice too to add into that sort of like leisure time something that really would put a smile on your face? Like,
Oh,
did you
sure.
used to paint, or did you like to write? Did you, so that's what I want you guys to start to think about. Like, what would put a smile on your face if Phyllis got this done in the morning and, it set the tone for the day. So that's what I want you to think about. Okay, we don't want to run out of
The
time,
joys
but
of travel are wherever your
who
journey
else
takes
wants
you.
to give us
Peaceful
an
parks.
example of something that they wrote out?
Great cities. Across
Whoever
the
would
sea
like to go.
or
Well,
just across
the best thing
town.
that's happened with Get
Even
Set
when
Up
we
is that they have
can't travel
exercise
physically,
classes in the
we
morning.
can venture
Nice.
out
So
in
I've built
spirit.
that into the routine.
Travel
Great.
of
is a
doing it
mindset.
every morning. And
Excellent. And so which class are you
Travelers
doing?
follow their dreams.
I'm doing all 5 morning
And
exercise
mine
classes.
generally take me
They start at
Europe.
8 in the morning,
Yeah.
and it's an hour class. And we do different things. There's balance and flexibility. There's core training. So it's different days, different classes, but I'm doing them all 5 days, and it's wonderful.
Excellent. So
because
from
I'm still working full time, so I have built that in as something that I need to do.
I
So I go to
love
bed.
to hear that. I love to hear that. That's excellent. So from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. for you.
Yes.
And where are you located? Are you like,
I'm in New York. I'm in
okay,
New
so
York.
like that's like for me that would be like 5 a.m. 5 in the morning.
Right.
So 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. you are doing some form of exercise. I love that. And that's one of the reasons we've brought in some guides that have exercise background so that we can have some really great classes. I would like to start joining in on some of those ones. Excellent.
They're wonderful.
Yeah, good to hear. Really good to hear. Anybody else, like, is there something that just sort of tweaked in your brain and thinking, I wouldn't mind adding in that component? Anything? Anybody else?
Well, I think I would also like to replace my going to the phone right away in the morning to check emails and
Yes.
check the news, which is not necessarily the best way to start the morning.
No, and I mean, the news will still be there. And sometimes you can just, if you're at work in a workplace, if you're working, you can just ask somebody who watches CNN and this, all those channels, and all, just say, what happened today? I limit my news actually to local news, 30 minutes. I tape it. I actually tape it on my PVR, the 5:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. news, because it's like they just condense everything and they just give you like the basics, like what I need to know. And I tape it and I watch it a little bit later in the day, because for that same reason, because Darren Hardy taught me, just keep your life sort of on the airplane mode. And because I can waste 3 hours on Facebook just scrolling. You're not even doing anything. You're not even actively doing anything except scrolling. Does anybody else want to add something that they discovered that they like to do, or that they've added?
I haven't added it, but I always do it.
Yep.
Every morning I have lemon and ginger in the morning, a hot drink.
Nice.
My golden rule is always get dressed first. Have a wash, get dressed. Don't stay in your night clothes. And then I always put myself in a bubble and protect myself before I start my day, so that other people look to me. And I talk to myself in the mirror. And my husband comes in.
I love it.
Talking to, and I say, I'm having a word with myself today.
I love that, Janice. That is amazing. I love that you brought that. I mean, we can be a little bit spiritual here, right? With putting yourself in a bubble, if everybody understands that. When I was going through chronic stress at my job, somebody, an Ayurvedic therapist person that I had gone to see, because I was like seeking help with anything. I had so much stress. And that's what they suggested. Just imagine that you've got your shield up, your bubble around you. So any negativity, like at the grocery store or somebody yelling at somebody, it just can bounce off of you. I love that. And Janice also brought up a really key thing before we go, that same thing about making the bed, like that my mom always taught us to do. when you are working from home, like a lot of us are kind of like working from home now, I'm not going to say it's not great. If it makes you smile and you feel great being in your PJs for half the day, all the better for you. But for me to be productive and feel like I've started the day, I need to like have a wash, get my clothes on, and not be wandering around the house like looking like I just got dragged out of bed. So, it's just a suggestion, but I love that, Janice. Thank you for sharing all of those.
But my children always know I call it my religion. It's against my religion to get up and not put makeup on or go out the house without makeup. And
Yeah.
even in lockdown, I've done it every day, and it just makes you feel, because the one day you don't do it, somebody knocks on the door.
And it's hilarious because like I don't actually wear tons of makeup, like in general I never did, but I still I put eyeliner on and I try to put something on my face. And we were going out to meet my husband's mom and dad for lunch. We were actually doing this like eating out, still at distance and whatever, just last week. And I put lipstick on and then we're ready to go, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got this mask over it. I got lipstick on the inside of my mask. It was kind of funny, but I kind of forgot. All right. So anyways, thank you everybody for being here. And I am going to just see here if I can get myself back on the screen here. Full screen. There we go. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. If anybody would like the recording, remember you can get it, and just come back to this class if you want to get some more ideas and hear from other people, because that's what I really, really like to do is to learn from each other. It's so funny. It's exciting. I love the bubble idea. It just reminded me from 2 years ago, Janice, that somebody gave that to me. Thank you so much, Carolyn. Thank you everybody for being here. Have a lovely weekend, safe weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
And I'll see you, Sabia. I hope I'm saying your name right. I'll see you in one of the exercise classes. I'm going to look it up and see if I can try it out. Okay, bye everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Glad you liked the class. Bye-bye.